recording. Okay. Oh, I clicked the wrong button. All right. So, in general, I forgot to put you on the screen. So in general, what you're doing in this game is like, it feels like, when like, suppose you have a job, and in this job you perform a lot of different functions. Like, let's say you're a teacher and you have several different lessons throughout the day, and you also have a meeting to attend to, or maybe several meetings, and then you have also like lesson plans to write, and then you also have some paperwork to do. And um, ideally, when you're going through the day, you're for example doing the paperwork right now, but your mind is already planning the schedule ahead of time, and you're thinking, oh, okay, I can't spend too much time on this one because in an hour I have a meeting, and then in 2 hours I have a class right there, and I'm teaching this. So kind of doing this right now, but your mind is already planning ahead that, okay, after this I need to do that, and then I need to do this.
Okay.
If you get like carried away and distracted by this minute task that you're doing at the moment, this little paperwork or something, and you somehow start doing it and you do it for 6 hours straight, that's not going to end well. And this is kind of what's happening in this game. You should
Okay.
always remind yourself that you're not like, you're playing in this corner or this side or this like part of the board for now, but you're already scheduling what you're going to do next. This is only one of the things that you're interested in. So you're playing it, but as soon as you're done, you're like, you should get this excitement and anticipation to, okay, I'm done here. Let me move on to greener pastures. Let me do something else. Oh, boom, not this move. Okay, so you're black. All right, everything is fine. Double kick in the upper left, kick in the upper right. Uh, and, oh, wait a second. This, this cord doesn't stay on top. How do I keep it on top? Huh, it has to, I have to pin it somehow. The old version was like, it always stayed on top, but this one doesn't. How do I do that? Ah, ta. We started the recording too early. Uh,
Sorry.
Probably in the settings, but I don't think I'll find it right now as we do it. So okay, I'll try to figure it out later. For now, maybe, okay, maybe I could do like a smaller screen. So I could do, oh, so I'll do a smaller screen, and I'll put you there. Okay. Ah. Okay. All right. So here we are. So this is an interesting attack. That's pretty cool because white didn't play. Maybe white was supposed to play something like this,
Yeah.
and white didn't. So it only makes sense to, yeah, pinch the stones and try to attack them a little bit. So that's reasonable. White jumps. Okay, so white is now jumping and making no points. All these four stones are just floating around, and you're making points on the right and at the top. This is a great beginning. And this is not really helping this. I feel like in this game you've learned this double Hane trick, like this one, and you've used it several times in every time. But remember, the double Hane is a very aggressive move, and yes, it works perfectly when you feel like you have the advantage locally. You are the attacker, you are the strong side, and your opponent is defending. So yeah, double Hane works, but sometimes it won't work. So you can't do it every time. When you're feeling that maybe the balance of power is not in your favor that much, maybe you don't have to do the double Hane. You can also do, what is the safer move instead of the double Hane? I just want you,
Just extend.
yeah, just extend. So I just want you to have the option that, like, you don't have to double Hane every time. Sometimes this is going to be just fine. very solid. You're just making points and see what white does next. Just for example, you do the double hane, like what if, hypothetically, what if white Ataris? And we connect, and then white does this and starts escaping. We probably block, this happens, and now, like, what if those two stones at the top that are cut off, what if they die? Like, I don't know. What happens here, for example? This is something that theoretically we would need to read out and calculate the whole thing before we play the double hane. That's why double hane is a little bit. I'm not telling you double hane is a bad move. Double hane is a great move, and in many situations it's the best move. But I'm just saying, be careful with it. Don't play it automatically. Before you double hane, check that everything's okay. So double hane. Your opponent just plays very passively. So yeah, okay. Double hane again, and maybe here white could start already playing this Atari and get out like this. So maybe here will be safer not to double hane, just go this way. But okay, these are details. By the way, this is an empty triangle, right? Dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun. This is it. So what would be maybe a better move? See, you're trying to cover up this gap and also threaten white. So do you think there's a better move that can do that without making an empty triangle?
H17.
H17. Okay, H17 does that, but H17 is not a threat. It doesn't threaten white in any way. White is going to ignore you and play like this move. So is
then
there...
H16.
Yes, and H16 is a great shape, and it's typically it's a nicer shape to a very good shape to remember. That this kind of jump is always better than the push. The push is always slow and it creates this awkward empty triangle shapes. But when you jump, this is the same threat. You're just as well threatening that stone. White still needs to connect. And then here comes the magical part. If you're thinking about this or this, no. That one stone, you got it for free. You played it. And now, just like I said before, you're thinking about what you're going to do next. Now you need to help the two stones in the middle. That's the important thing. And then you go and you play in the middle. And if white now plays, and that one stone is already helping you to protect the upper side. And if white now tries to break in, like for example like this, you will just block. And if white takes that stone, okay, give it up. Just one stone, not important. That one stone already performed, it did its purpose. The purpose was to kind of, you got it for free, and it's holding white back. It's not allowing white to break into your side easily. Without that stone, right, if you don't play it, and you make this move, maybe white could play here, just go inside. But with that stone, with that exchange, however white tries, that stone is, you can give that stone up and it's acting as this barrier between the upper side and white's attack. You just block, white takes the stone, okay, give it up. White takes, all right, and everything is connected perfectly. The entire upper side is yours for the price of only one stone.
Got it.
Okay. And here comes the thing. White plays here, and you just need to remember that not every move that your opponent makes is going to be a beautiful or perfect one, because this is also a 19Q. He's not a very strong player. So this move, for example, maybe white could have played a big point, this one or this one. Maybe white could have helped this stone. Maybe white could have attacked your two stones. White had a lot of big moves on the board, but instead of that, white chose this move. And how is this move threatening you? You
It
seem
isn't at this
you,
point.
you seem to like treat it in the game as if it's a threat, so you respond to it. But it wasn't a threat,
Yeah.
right? It wasn't a threat. So, well, now is your turn to start doing other things. Don't like get buried into this paperwork, but that's it. Our job here is done. White played a slow move. We don't need to respond. It doesn't threaten anything, so let's go and do something else. Let's go and, I don't know, invade the lower side and attack the stone. Or let's go and help the stones in the middle. Let's go and attack the corner. So play one of the big moves and just, yeah, here we go. This move is strengthening the upper side, but not necessary. Not really necessary. Um, it's just 1 point on the upper side. And white gets a chance to play here first. It would be so much nicer if you could play here first, for example. This would make your stone stronger and white stones weaker. And by the way, be careful, because every time your liberties are tight, you see that those stones, they don't have very many liberties. So actually, when the liberties are tight, all kinds of tesuji, all kinds of moves start to work. So right now, white has a clever move to capture your two stones. So do you see how? If you're white, how would you capture them? This could be one of those problems from the book.
Yeah. J12.
And then, okay, J12 1, black connects 2.
And so now you go to K11.
Correct. Yes, it's a 3 move problem. So yes, Atari, black connects, and Atari, and because the liberties are so tight, black gets captured, and this is what white should have absolutely done. But white missed it as well. White didn't see it in the game because white didn't solve the problems also, and so white didn't see it, which of course allows you the chance to go fix it, and you fix it. Okay, so here we are. All right.
And by the way, my goal here,
Yeah.
I'm trying to protect the right side
Yeah.
because I got covered up that the right side, but I'm also trying to invade the lower left.
Well, you're trying. I was just about to get to that because if you're trying to invade the lower left, you're doing a poor job at that.
I'm doing a very poor job of that. Yes.
Because you're not like really invading at all, and you're waiting and waiting, and finally you will invade, but you'll invade like 30 moves later, and only into Sun into the corner, which is the easiest invasion because it's easily containable. The problem with the Sun is that you go there, white will limit you there, give you the corner, but then get everything else. And then
So,
this is the thing, right? So right now, white is already building this. If you allow white to
yeah.
build the entire wall like this and finish it up, then once you invade into Sun and take it, it will still allow white to build this kind of wall here. And this will give white so many points between those blue lines. Like everything there is going to belong to white. That's too much. You have to already, you're doing this paperwork right now, but you have to know that a very important meeting is coming up ahead, and you have to attend it. If you don't, then it's gonna ruin your work. So if you don't somehow destroy the left side, it's not, you're not gonna have enough territory. So yes, the right side is great, the upper side is great, but those territories are not very big, right?
Yeah, right.
So however you
So I
measure them. Mm-hmm.
so I was looking at now
Mm-hmm.
J9.
J. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Because like right now, what did you play in the game? Oh, this one. Okay, so
Um,
this is clearly the move that is not protecting any cutting points, it's not making you many points, and it's not invading the left side.
Yeah.
It's still a move played locally. You're still kind of continuing to play in the same area, and you're overprotecting it. So yeah, this is definitely not the move. There's some problems. Like if you now play away, for example, then yeah, there could be this kind of trouble. White would
Yeah.
Atari and this, and then now threaten and then go away, and now the entire central group is in trouble. So that is a problem. So I mean, technically, what you could do here is, if this happens, you could give up a stone again. If you see that this is ugly, and this is just too good for white, then the second thought is, okay, we can't save that stone. If we save it, it looks terrible. So Atari from the other side. Give it up, and if white takes this, beautiful, and everything is fixed, kind of, right? White needs to connect because it's a double Atari on 2 stones, and then we fix something, for example, like this. There you go. The whole thing is fixed. But what you said is also nice. So instead of playing 1, we kind of protect this way. And yeah, and if white goes here, we continue and naturally break into the left side. Sure, this also works. And this is probably what you should have done
Yes.
in this game. And in the same way, if white Ataris, you could still sacrifice. Like you still don't have to connect. Only 1 stone, not so important. This is not an easy trick because all of our nature, all of our like everything we know tells us Atari will connect. But then learning when to connect and when the stone has already done its purpose and you can just Atari from the outside and sacrifice it. That's it comes with experience, and there's no other way about it. But in this case, it's just about also seeing that the shape here doesn't look pretty. This shape looks like it's a cluster of stones. And in this case, when you read 1 move ahead and you see that, oh, that shape is ugly, then you're like, okay, let me do this to avoid the ugliness. And then this happens, and there you go. It's a beautiful shape now. So yes, this would have been a nice move, but for that matter, anything at this point, any invasion here, or this move, or here, or maybe lower side here, which would isolate the right stone, anything would have been nice. This, too slow. Okay, okay. And again, at this point, you should be like impatiently waiting to finally play away, because white is building the wall. The wall is becoming stronger and stronger.
Yeah.
It's starting to look like the Great Wall of China. Like we need to do something about this. And so there is really no time for this anymore. At this point, there is no cut, right? If we now ignore pass, where's the pass? Pass, then this cut doesn't work anymore, right?
Yeah. Right.
Right. So we just capture. And if that cut doesn't work, no cut works, no cuts. So now invade. You have to invade. You have to go and do something like this. Because if you don't, that territory is just going to be too big. So this is maybe final chance. You had a few chances before to ignore white and go to the lower side, but maybe this is one of the last chances. But you don't. But you go this, and this, and this, and this, and this. All of these moves are maybe nice on their own, but considering that they're building the wall and making the future invasion impossible, pretty much, all of these moves are, we can label them as mistakes, even though they're beautiful. Just because by playing them, you're kind of building white the territory that's going to win him the game. And for that matter, also, if we now for a second forget about the left side, how to respond to this move? I mean, yes, probably in this particular game, this is the response to this move. Not respond. We have no time to respond. We need to do the left side. But let's forget about the left side for a second and just locally, how to respond to O2, this Hane on the second line.
I'm not sure. I would think maybe R3.
R3. R3, the attachment, this one?
Yeah.
Okay, but why not? The question is, all right, so at this point, when you play O3, right, you're
Yeah.
kind of sort of separating the A stone from the rest of the stones. And if the A stone
Yes.
remains separated, then maybe white just dies in a corner. Because you have many stones around, so maybe the A stone will die. You've cut it off from white forces, and now it will just suffocate and die. So if the stone remains separated, that's very nice for you. And now, all of a sudden, white tries to connect. So the first instinct
So,
is, do not let him connect.
all right. N2.
And what's going to happen after you play N2?
It's going to go to M2.
Yeah, and that doesn't work, does it?
No, that was why I didn't do it.
Yeah,
But
okay.
but if I try to separate the stones, I think maybe I did that. I don't remember. If I go to P2, that same thing. It doesn't work.
Why? Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Like, you seem to be very reluctant to play a simple block at P2, and the question is why? What's the problem with P2? Because right now
Because he's
this triangle stone is it's not very strong. It has only 3 liberties left, and when you play P2, now it's got only 2. And at this point, if white doesn't protect that stone, anything that white does, next you play N2 and capture. Because this 1, 2, 3, we know it. We know this capture. This is the most classic capture in Go. 1, 2, 3 Atari to the first line, dead.
okay. But what if at this point he goes to P3?
Yes, but like I said, as long as white does anything, I don't care what it is. White blows a horn, or white plays the piano, or white goes anywhere on the board. As long as white doesn't connect that stone at N2, you play N2. There you go, and this is Atari, and white has nowhere to go. Correct? The O2 stone, where's it going? Down to the first line, to death.
Yeah.
So white goes here, Atari from either side, and dead. So that's the thing. Whenever you see this Hane on the second line, it's 99% of situations you just block. This particular game could be a weird exception because the left side is so important and you left it so unattended. But if we forget about the left side for a second, if we just think of this as a normal game, then every time your opponent plays this Hane, don't think of anything else. You just block because of this 3 stone Atari threat situation. So, of course, there are some exceptions to this, but in most cases, it's just like, for example, when you play here, 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 here. Oh no, where do I show it? Dum 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 dum, and for example, this one, black plays here. How is white going to respond? Well, the only way, here, white's going to block and threaten the 5 stone.
Yeah.
And you're probably thinking that because there is a stone over here, it's changing something. But it's not. That stone is not really helping because this is still the same threat.
Yeah.
Black has no time to play here because the stone gets captured faster before black can do anything with that cut.
Okay.
So the same thing there. Q3 stone seems to be helping. It seems to be establishing a connection, but it doesn't. It doesn't. So just block and no worries. In the game, you play this one, the empty triangle, and allow white to connect. And again, at any point here, you need to go to the left. And you will. And now, to the left. No, there's no time for this one. But also, by the way, if you were to play, block. But no time for this. Really no time. Gotta go to the left. And now, gotta go to the left. No time for this one either. Protecting, very nice, but no time probably. Even if white captures something, the left side is far more important at this point. And this one, really no time. But this is already something that you could probably, this is where we're getting closer to those problems that I'm giving you. Because this is the kind of stuff that is, it's all about 1-2 moves reading. It's not that hard, and you can absolutely read this. So you just imagine, like, okay, I'm going to go and play this one. White cuts. What am I going to do? What's my move here? How will I capture? Can I capture that stone? Can you?
Okay. Let's see.
Yes, white is threatening to play here. That is true.
Right.
So you need to watch out for that.
Well, let's go to P7.
P7, okay. Does it work? I think it works, right? Even if white does this,
And
connect.
now connect it. Yeah.
Oh. Wait
Capture.
a second. Atari. Ah, there's one more. There's one more liberty. Lucky. Okay. L13 is free. Otherwise, this could be very, very unpleasant. Okay, then everything is fine. But other than that, I was suggesting, because there is some problem there, I would suggest maybe from here. Maybe from here it's a little easier. And Atari, connect, white goes here, nothing. But again, in this case, you can't even, like, there are moments when, even if you see that there is a cut, and even if you see that after the cut something is going to fall and some of your stones will die, but that place is so darn important, that left side is so important, you kind of have to disregard it. You have to ignore you kind of have to mentally let go of those stones, because no stones on the right side, even if like 4 or 5 stones on the right side will die, none of that is as important as the left side. If you manage to invade the left side and like destroy it, but then lose some of the stones on the right side, it's okay. It's going to be a very nice exchange, actually. Getting, like, sacrificing a few stones on the right for the destruction of the whole left side. Very nice exchange.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah, I saw that developing too late, and I know I missed the opportunity.
Yeah, so you can't just sit around and hope that white doesn't get all the points if you give him the chance to. So at this point, it's really, really, really too late. White got every possible move, and white invested a gazillion of moves. I can't even count how many. All of these moves into that, and plus this one, all of those stones. Now, invading the left side has become difficult, unsurprisingly. And so now you do invade, but that's like 40 moves too late. And that's the problem of this game. So always keep this in mind, that you need to go other places. You can't stay in one place. You can't keep doing the same routine work forever. You need to switch tasks. You need to keep it versatile and keep it diverse and interesting. So now you've done this, and it looks amazing, except for white getting too many points, and you don't really have a way of... You probably need to do this anyway. I mean, this is the safe way. Where you play it is very safe, but you probably cannot allow this. Like, knowing how many points white is going to get, you probably still need to play something like this and try to live on the outside, because the outside is a bigger place.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, yes, this is riskier and this is not guaranteed, but your opponent is 19Q, so he's going to make some mistakes, hopefully. You need to try this because you know that this is risky but gives you a chance. The other one is safe, but you're losing for sure. So between
Yeah.
these two, you got to choose the riskier option. Um, and now a couple of Tsuji questions. So, all right, let's see. Now, first of all, here, does black need to defend on the right side or not? And for that, you kind of need to imagine what happens if white cuts at A, what happens if white cuts at B.
Yeah, I'm not so worried about B.
Okay.
I think I can defend B. And A. Should be able to defend both.
So do we have to play here or not? Is defense necessary? Like suppose white cuts at A. Let's go hypothetically. White cuts at A. What do you do?
S17.
Okay, so let's go 1, 2. White plays. Okay, that stone at 1 is captured, so we go 3.
Well, the 1 isn't captured yet.
Not yet.
So let's capture that with T16.
Okay, yes.
And now um,
This is Atari. Atari on the 4 stones.
right, so you have to connect those at
Yes.
R12.
Yep. And after this, white has nothing to
The
do, right? So it goes like this. So we pass
yeah,
here, here, Atari take, Atari connect. Here's the sequence, and the black corner is completely alive, and the 2 white stones are doing nothing here. They're standing inside your territory, and they can't go anywhere. So that's it. Okay, let's try the other one. Here.
okay, and S13.
Yes, you can do that, but you also need to remember that you have options. You don't have to just capture that stone. You can protect, if you're afraid that the corner is weaker, for example, which it is, probably. The corner is a little bit weaker than the lower right side. So
Right.
you can then connect the corner rather than Atari-ing the stone, right? So you can probably do this, but then in this case you need to make sure that this is not working. And this
Look,
looks a bit risky. It maybe doesn't work, but looks a bit risky. Black has
no, then
now 2 liberties only. You have to block. Doesn't work. It doesn't work because Atari, and unfortunately white cannot continue. White cannot play T19 because of the corner,
right.
and otherwise black would die. But this is a bit difficult to read. This is already 11 moves. And that's, I understand. This is not your typical easy problem in one move. So if that's a little complicated, you can always simplify it for yourself and just go and connect the corner first. Because the corner is the weaker side. And just allow white to play here, okay? And it brings us pretty much to the same sequence as before. White has 2 stones only, and the 2 stones have nowhere to go. They have only 3 liberties, and the black corner is okay. So it's always your choice. When your opponent cuts on one of the sides, it's your choice which side to go. When this happens, you don't have to just Atari the stone. You have another choice as well. And you need to choose depending on which side is weaker, and you protect that side. So
Okay.
that kind of brings us to the conclusion that whichever side white cuts, everything's okay. Everything's more or less protected. The territory is strong, no weaknesses. Whatever white does, we keep all of it. No danger. Which means that now you need to go into Tanuki. You need to play somewhere else. You don't need to continue here. So I don't know, play something, this move, for example, or I don't know, play this move, play some endgame, this move. Just keep playing the endgame. Just get a few more extra points. It's not going to win the game already because the left side is too big, but at least we're now playing the right endgame. In the game, you connect, you lose 1 point, and you give white the move. And now white gets this move, for example. Now this one also necessary?
Yeah, no.
No. Everything is protected. This is not a cutting point. This is not a cutting point. There are no cutting points. 0 cutting points in your position. H17 gets countered easily by this. So no cutting points, no danger. So you can easily just play, instead of playing here and allowing white to Atari, well, you could do this. It looks a little weird, but no danger, no cuts. So play this one. The shape is a bit awkward, but nothing. So you get all the points. You keep everything. Or maybe instead of this one first. White responds, this one next. Respond, then this one. And get all the points. But in the game, this one, Atari, connect, this one, and the question again. This point looks like obvious trouble, but you need to read it, and this is my last question in the game. What happens if white cuts?
B17.
White extends. C18.
Okay. B18.
That is correct. And this is pretty much one of the problems in the book. This is kind of one of the things that you solved right there. Very, very similar. So yes, if you can just ignore, play here, and if white cuts, this one and this one, and nothing for white to do. You have way too many liberties and white has 2, so white is dead. This cut is not working. And if it's not working, then no need to panic and no need to protect. So this is, you're taking care of the weaknesses, but sometimes the weaknesses are not weak because you've read it and you know for sure, for a fact, that this cut is not working. So no need to overprotect. See, there were like 5, 6, 7 places in the game where you spent a move, protected the weakness, but actually there was nothing. There was no weakness, and that move was better spent elsewhere. So try to pay attention to this, and this one also, by the way. Try to pay attention to this. Like protecting cutting points, yes, but it has to be backed up by reading, by calculation. And if you see that it just doesn't work, then you have to trust your calculation and go play somewhere else. Okay, let me